Hey everybody, this is the BS Podcast Network. I'm Ben Dorst.
Steven Dominguez.
At least this show is better than pure BS.
What?
What
are you? I'm Batman.
Who are you?
My name is Bond. I'm Batman.
Name's Bond.
James Bond.
I am Batman.
Bond. James Bond. I'm Batman. I'm Batman.
This is the Batman vs. James Bond show. The show covering everything related to Batman and James Bond movies. And now, here's your host, Brian Thomas.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Batman vs. James Bond show. The name's Thomas, Brian Thomas, and I am your host. And this is the show where we discuss everything related to Batman and James Bond movies. It is great to be back. I hope all of you have had a fantastic week. Mine was, it was a really good weekend, really great week. I will share some of those details with you shortly, or near the middle of the show anyway, because we have a lot to get to as always. But just as a reminder, the Batman vs. James Bond show can be found on the BS Podcast Network. You can find my show and a whole bunch of other great shows on bspodnetwork.com. Shout out to Steven and Ben over there. They do a show called Pure BS Podcast. Shout out to Steven and Ben over there. They do a show called Pure BS Podcast. Lately, they've been talking a lot about Batman, and I gotta say, boys, I'm enjoying it, and as will you guys too. So, always a quick disclaimer I like to throw out before every show, especially for the new listeners. Welcome. I am not a movie critic. Obviously, yes, that's why I do a podcast. I don't get paid those big bucks, and I don't get dump trucks full of money. I don't get payoffs or anything. No, I'm just kidding. Movie critics, some of them are cool, some of them are not, but you know what I'm talking about. And I am not a blogger for a movie site. Kinda, technically, maybe I am. But I am just a guy who is obsessed with Batman and James Bond. As you can tell by now, for those of you that have been in with the show for at least a couple episodes now, you can see that, I'm something about these two characters I just love. I can't get enough of. One Friday afternoon, here I am counting down to Batman Day. And how do you do that? Well, in my house, of course, you just turn on a Batman movie. So I ended up turning on Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition, because that's the only edition that I will own in my house of that movie. And I gotta say, I enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. I still have my little gripes about it. And I still hold off at my score of 4 out of 5 bat signals. If you haven't checked it out, if you've had any reservations about the theatrical cut, go check that movie out. And then I can go from watching The Dark Knight the next night on Batman Day, and I'm talking about Dark Knight starring Christian Bale and Heath Ledger as the Joker. I gotta tell you, that movie holds up, and it still continues to get better with time. Something about that movie, and I'm not saying that I'm biased just because, I love the Nolan trilogy, but I think that we can all agree that Heath Ledger's performance as the Joker, it was just, he knocked it out of the park. He really did. And, we haven't had enough of Jared Leto's Joker to, make any fair comparisons. And I don't think it's fair to make any comparisons because I can only speak for an actor just from their standpoint or from their point of view. That, each actor is different in their own way. At least I hope they are. And what the performance that they're going to give us is going to be, the best of their ability, we would hope. And it's not fair to compare. It's comparing apples to oranges. So for me to compare Jack Nicholson's Joker, which is still one of my favorite Jokers, to compare it to Heath Ledger's Joker and now Jared Leto's Joker, I don't think it's a fair comparison at all. So, and the only reason I bring this up is because there's comparisons, especially with Batman Day, is there's a picture going around saying it's Batman versus, Christian Bale's Batman versus Ben Affleck's Batman, and there's quotes saying, I saved Gotham from a nuclear blaster from terrorists, and of course that's Christian Bale's Batman, and then you have Batfleck saying, well, I kicked Superman's ass, something along those lines, and to that I say, okay, well, sure, make the comparisons, guys, if you want, and you know who you are out there. But at the same time, be happy that we have all these great representations of these characters. I'm not complaining because, I mean, this legend of the Batman character, of the James Bond character, we can compare James Bonds all day, and I can make a good argument for almost every single one of them of why they are entertaining in their own way. So, don't compare. I mean, if you want to compare them, that's fine. And I have been known to compare them, but don't criticize another one just because you think it's better. That person is entitled to their opinion. That actor gave their performance, and yeah, there I said it. So now that I got that off my chest, let's get into some fun things here, okay? So last week I promised James Bond fans that I had a big surprise for them, and I am here this week to make good on that promise. Joining me on the show right now from not Skype, but was it Google Hangout? Yeah, Google Hangout. Boys just showed me this. From the short film entitled 007, I Only Need One, are the producer and star of the film, Mr. Andrew Neis, and director, Mr. Matthew J. I can't say it, Salanoa? Did I say it right? Salanoa. Okay. Welcome, gentlemen. It is great to have you on the show.
Thank you very much.
Brian. Here.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Awesome. I've been really looking forward to this, talking to you guys. I know we've been talking a little bit on social media and so forth. So, I have a lot of questions and probably not a lot of time, but we're going to do what we can here. So first, let me start off by saying I love the film. I know I've already told you that, when we were on the pre-show and so forth, but guys, you knocked it out of the park with this one. I was blown away.
Thank you so much. I mean, I mentioned we were really trying to make something for fun for us. We made it with our friends, and the fact that anyone saw it and enjoyed it, the fact that we're talking here with you now. And by the way, I love your opening theme song.
Thank you.
I don't know if you've heard it yet. And it's a nice, excellent mix of I'm James Bond and I'm Batman. And it's wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for having us.
Definitely.
The first.
Definitely. And congrats on the awards that you guys have received already. I know that you were the official selection for the 2016 Action on Film International Film Festival and Writers Celebration. You're also the official selection for the 2016 Urban Action Showcase International Action Showcase, and you were nominated for Best Film, Best Fan Film, Best Sound Design, and Best Costumes. You guys are just knocking it out of the park with this, aren't you?
Yeah. Doing our best and just grateful to. It was a really great time being at the award ceremony, never having been to one before, and I gotta say, we're so glad that people are seeing it and enjoying it.
Good.
That Best Costumes, I think, was a real surprise for all of us. That we were just happy if everything looked good in them, and that's just proof that something looked good. Definitely, those costumes looked good.
Oh, they did. Definitely. So, yeah. I can tell you put a lot of thought into it. But so before we actually, go into, talking and so forth, I want to get a little bit of background about you guys. So I know you're probably not prepared for this. I'm going to put you on the spot, but that's what I do. I got a couple questions for you just to get started to see kind of where you're coming from. Andrew, we'll start with you. Your favorite Batman film, if you are a Batman fan. I'm assuming from the movie that you might be.
My favorite Batman film?
Yes.
The one that had Jim Carrey, and it was Val Kilmer as Batman.
Batman Forever.
But not Return. Forever.
Yeah, Batman Forever. Okay, interesting choice. All right, very cool. All right, I will send it to you, Matt. What is your favorite Batman film? I know we just talked
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns. Yeah. Okay. A Burton fan.
Yeah, that's the Burton one.
Okay, is it really? Is it because of Catwoman? You can be honest here. It's okay. No one will hear.
It might be a little bit or a lot because of Catwoman and every single scene she's in that suit. Confirm or deny, but
yeah. When she's on the bed,
wow.
Penguin's bed, just giving herself a bath or whatever you want to call it there. Yeah, that,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of the best baths on film. Didn't even need a bathtub. No.
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer, just one of the best.
Oh, she is. Yeah. And let me just say that she is aging quite well, where she could still possibly be a Bond girl. If, oh my God, her name escapes me right now. Who was just a Bond girl? Whatever. I'll move on. It'll come to my mind in a moment. All right. Second question, guys. Andrew, what is your favorite James Bond film?
Hands down, GoldenEye. There's no even thinking about that.
Okay. Final answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Definitely. All right. Good. All right, Matt, what's your favorite James Bond film? I know you said you're kind of new still to the James Bond films, but have you had a chance to think of like what a favorite one could be?
Yeah, well, I know it's definitely Moonraker. That's my favorite one.
Ah, interesting choices, guys. Okay, I like this. Why Moonraker?
Well, I'm a bit of a nerd. Andrew really comes from the Bond fan side, and he introduced the whole world of everything.
Mm-hmm.
You should definitely let him know about your GoldenEye experience.
I will.
But it was Moonraker, Star Wars with James Bond in the most sort of realistic, I wouldn't say realistic entirely, but most believable way, really making it human, and somehow making the Star Wars elements work. It was just amazing. About sci-fi with James Bond, but somehow it still feels like James Bond.
Mm-hmm. It does.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. Good choice.
And
Okay.
Andrew actually made stunt guns, and he made a stunt striker laser.
Who did this?
Andrew.
You have a real Moonraker, or I mean, like a Moonraker laser. You really have one?
At home.
I made a working Moonraker laser. It fires. It's like a BB gun,
Yeah.
but it's the Moonraker laser. It fires BBs.
Oh, that's badass. I'm gonna have to ask if you can send me a picture of that because I have to see that. That's interesting. Wow. Okay. All right, guys.
I made a golden gun and the Moonraker laser. And both of them are BB guns, and I showed a little step-by-step how-to. I did a little YouTube video of how I made it.
Wow. Oh, so you made the golden gun. So that was your creation from the film, anyway.
I made the golden gun. Well, for the movie, it wasn't a working golden gun. It was like a show, a picture golden gun.
Right.
And just for fun, one day, like, you know what? Like, I want to see if I can actually make a working golden gun pellet gun, and I just did.
Wow. Okay. Wow. We're all geeking out over here. Okay. Now I don't feel so bad whenever I'm working on my Batman suit and stuff. So, I tell my wife, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go into my office some to do work. And she's like, you're just playing with your Batman stuff. I'm like, well, it's, I take it seriously. I really enjoy that. That's my hobby. So now I don't feel alone here. Thank you.
So fun.
Oh, it's so much fun. Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right. Speaking of Batman, what is your favorite Batman actor, guys? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go for that one. Michael Keaton.
Good choice.
Definitely Michael.
Good one. Very good. Yeah. He, I was talking about on the Batman episode I did, last week, because it was actually, yesterday was Batman Day. And, something about Michael Keaton. I mean, like we said, like even like almost 30 years later, well, approximately 30 years later, we'll just say for sake of argument that his Batman, just his portrayal just still holds up. He didn't have to do like any fancy voice for it. He just talked just nice and low and just, just everything. When he was going against the Joker, when he was going against Penguin and Catwoman, it was perfect. With all due respect to Ben Affleck and Christian Bale, I mean, I like them, I really do, but I don't know if their Batmans were just as good as his. So, but to each his own. So, yeah. How about you, Andrew?
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer. Okay.
Michael Keaton, cool, but something about that the way that he was a little more soft-spoken than Michael Keaton was.
Mm-hmm.
He given Batman's history of how he was killed by his parents were killed right in front of him, like the kid would turn out to be this kind of messed up kid that would be like really, really soft spoken and shy. And I think Val Kilmer did that just a little bit more than Keaton did.
Yeah.
Just reflected that anyway.
Yeah. At least in Batman Forever, as opposed to the other two Batman movies or the Keaton Batman movies, they didn't. Yeah, they touched on the parents, like in Batman 89, how the Joker killed his parents. But other than that, though, how does he react with all this, too? And Val Kilmer kind of, having the dreams and so forth about that, running and falling into the Batcave. I think that's kind of where Nolan might have gotten his idea in a way, and you can definitely see that in the Nolan films, especially in Batman Begins. Definitely. So, all right, guys. Who is your favorite James Bond actor?
Oh, man. I'll let Andrew take this one first.
Okay. Yeah, you can think about it. No Googling.
He doesn't have
He doesn't have one.
I have a hard, firm answer on that one. Okay. Favorite, Timothy Dalton.
Wow.
That has the look of James Bond.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yes.
If it was Brosnan's face on Dalton's acting,
yeah.
that would be perfect. That would be the perfect Bond. Because Pierce, he looks like James Bond.
Yeah.
And Dalton is close, but his acting was so awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spot on.
Definitely. I think one of the most underrated James Bond films to this day is still License to Kill. People can say what they want about that. I'm a fan of classic 80s action movies, so with that, it's Die Hard meets James Bond, and I watch that all the time, and I love it to this day. And it just, it was a bloody Bond, it was a revenge movie, but, and just, how he reacted to what happened to Felix Leiter. I love it, So
he's not this little, sorry revenge Bond,
no.
In Quantum.
Mm-mm.
Actual, all right, it's on, and
oh yeah,
he's still smooth Bond. Bond is supposed to be smooth and suave, and he just shows up, and the girl's clothes come off. That's what James Bond's supposed to be, not this sad, disturbed, broken Bond.
Right. I hear you. Yep. Okay, Matt. Now that you've had a chance to Google James Bond and stuff, who's your favorite, bud?
Oh, right. I was supposed to Google him. Oh, I was just having fun listening.
Yeah.
Again, I had started out really not knowing too much about Bond, and Andrew brought me into the world. So I really ended up agreeing with him wholeheartedly with his statements. But, when I first started, I thought Pierce Brosnan was the only Bond, so that was my favorite for the longest time. But if we're talking favorite versus best, I think when I rewatched some of the old movies, I'd seen some of the older ones before, and having some time away from that, I saw Goldfinger on TV again. I think Sean Connery would be the best. My favorite, definitely, though, I think Timothy Dalton. As Andrew said, just the acting really, I guess more because he's more contemporary. I think he's today.
Yeah.
How people see things and feel today. And I think he just brought that perfect continuity to today. So,
yep. 100% hear you. Okay, guys. Last question. Well, last of these questions anyway. Yeah, sure.
Can I get in something real quick? I'm so sorry to interrupt. My bad.
Go for it.
I'm going to go from outside to in my house now, so it might change to connecting to the Wi-Fi. If I lose it, I'll just call back.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Okay, so last of my, beginning questions anyway. Who do you think would win in a fight between Batman versus James Bond, and why?
Ooh, them is fighting words.
Yeah, it is. Man. Yeah.
It's real difficult when the sort of universal rule for both characters is that they win no matter what.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but I mean, it can be any Batman. It could be your favorite. It could be Keaton's Batman versus Timothy Dalton's James Bond. How about that? That will narrow it down. So, who would win on that?
Oh man, knock each other out, trying to kill each other. They would just be too good.
It would be a draw, right? It would be a draw. Okay.
Yeah, but M and Alfred would walk up and be like, "What? You're both passed out. I thought you were fighting."
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's what would really happen.
Yeah, it's a question that's still out there on the internet, and no one has ever given. I mean, there's reason people lean towards Batman, but just because he could be stronger. If you're going to say the Ben Affleck Batman versus, say, Pierce Brosnan, well, I think I know who's going to win on that, because after what I saw in Batman v Superman of how he was training, then, just how he dragged that tire. He's doing the pull-ups with however 245-pound weights on his legs and stuff. Yeah, I think, physically, maybe. Who knows? But, it's just, it's always an interesting question because, once again, if Bond has gadgets, then there's a very good chance he could win. So... yeah. And
truth be told, Michael Keaton's Batman, that armored his Batmobile is already bulletproof, but he has an extra layer of armor.
Right.
And he can drop out the bomb. So, my real honest nerd answer is Batman, but, my having learned who James Bond is answer is a draw.
Yeah. Good deal. So. Okay. All right. So let's talk more about your movie here, guys. Andrew, how did you get the idea for this movie? How did it come together? Like, what inspired you for this?
Well, I had actually just made a golden gun. It was back when I just made one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I wonder if I could just make a replica golden gun, and I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I showed it to Matt, and he was like, "Whoa, no way!"
Mm-hmm.
And he suggested, he's like, "You know what we should do? Because I had just made a Mirror's Edge short film, based off the video game Mirror's Edge."
Mm-hmm.
So he suggested, your next one should be a Man with the Golden Gun and short. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I sat down and thought about it and came up with a little script and showed it to him. He loved it. So I said, hey, you want to direct it? And then yeah.
Nice. And Matt, this is your directorial debut, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. I mean, hey, this is an amazing start, man. This is great. I gotta tell you, when I watched this movie, and especially when I watched it the second time, I'm like, I feel like I'm in a GoldenEye 64. I'm sure you guys played this, judging by your age. Like, I'm in a live-action GoldenEye 64 movie. That's what I felt like. It felt like I had levels of different bad guys to go through, which led me to the main bad guy. So,
oh, yeah.
Is that what you were going for, or is that just me? Is that just in my mind?
Yeah. I mean, did you catch all of our GoldenEye N64 references?
Well, I was gonna. That's definitely on my list. There's definitely a sound of the rotating mirrors, like when a weapon respawns. I'd love to know how you found that sound effect in there, because that would work perfect. Yeah. I'm trying to think what else. What's that?
Sorry. Were you asking about the sound of the rotating mirrors themselves?
Yeah.
Well, that one was actually part me and mostly Paul Zambrano, who did the sound design.
Okay.
And that's why that sound is so epic and creepy.
But
so we're incredibly grateful that he brought that on. That needed to be scary.
Oh, it was.
And I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like when you went into. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. As for GoldenEye 64, absolutely. There's a whole love letter to it. The gun rack that you see a few times in the movie guns are from GoldenEye 64.
Okay, they did look familiar. Okay, yeah. Definitely. I was going to say, the references, at least that I saw in there, were obviously The Man with the Golden Gun, GoldenEye, which, now, Andrew, that I know that's your favorite film, I can definitely see that in there. Casino Royale, there was definitely at least a couple references in that. Obviously no gadgets, I would say. And I mean, I'm jumping ahead here in the movie, but I will say in the fight sequence of you and, when in the axe, the guy with the axe is Jaws is his name, right? That's what you end up calling him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
There's a reminiscent fight of the stairwell fight in Casino Royale when you're strangling him and you shoot to the legs and then you shoot back at his face and then you shoot to the legs again. I was like, oh, that's a really good Easter egg right there. I really like that.
Wow.
And I will even say, and this is not quite James Bond related. Technically, I guess it could be because it's from a director of a Batman movie, but Inception. How you guys started this off reminded me of Inception when Andrew woke up and he's Andrew, if I didn't say, he's playing actually James Bond in the movie, and he wakes up on this beach and I'm like, this is like Inception. It's like when Dom woke up in there with Leonardo DiCaprio's character. I really like that. So I don't know if that was intentional, but I'm just saying that's something I picked up on.
Oh, that's a great catch. Andrew, you came up with that opening. What were you thinking of when you came up with that?
That was my original idea for how the movie opens. It's just a hard open to James Bond on the beach, and we don't know why he's there.
Yeah.
And then he gets the invite, and the story slowly gets put together.
Mm-hmm.
But Matt had come up with the idea of, hey, we should have this first girl like like in The Man with the Golden Gun, it's the first guy going up against Scaramanga, and he's like, we know that, just like in the movie, that he's bringing more people to duel, and he's got this wall full of guns, which are his trophies, and he's got them all labeled like nice and neat, and each one trophy. And I was like, oh, all right, yes. And we restructured it to include that.
Like it, loved it. As we're talking just about Scaramanga, first, who was the actor that played Scaramanga?
That was Richard Mills. He's actually a pool playing friend.
Is he really? Okay.
Yeah.
So is he an actor, or, I mean, is this his first time doing this, or?
This was his second time out.
Okay.
I knew him from a mutual friend, but he had actually acted in a short film that I was helping out on a couple years ago. And he just was so great and raw and real. He was playing this junkie. I just thought he was hands down just so real throughout the entire, even though it's one scene, it really hit me.
Yeah. The details of his character. Man,
I got to work with that guy again.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The details that you guys put in with his character, and when he's just first of all, I mean this as no insult to him, but he has that creepy bad guy, James Bond bad guy look. And he, with certain Bond villains, you don't need to have like a scar on your face, you don't need to have an eye patch at all, but he just had that look to him. And I mean, I was blown away by that. And then you shoot to his house, and I don't want to give away the whole movie for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, but he's playing his record, and he's just sitting there, just listening to the music, and just like this classical music. And, it was just, it's like, I would picture Scaramanga in this state, like a remake of that, of what he would look like. And I think you guys did great with that. So the casting for that was amazing.
Oh, thank you so much, guys. He knocked it out of the park. To me, he looks like a theater trained actor who just happened to be popular.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely.
I'm really glad his performance. I saw a Facebook picture of him where he was in one of his suits. Those suits you see him in. Yeah. He brought all of that to the movie, and the swagger and the evil grin. So I just really had to ask him to wear it for the day, and he was just so professional, and he worked his butt off. We had some cold, brutal nights, and he really worked hard in the movie. So yeah, glad you enjoyed him.
Yeah. So the film, all of the film was shot in California, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Hello?
Okay. I was going to ask you about the funhouse, actually. I was going to, where did you guys get the idea for just the funhouse? Obviously, for those of us that have seen The Man with Golden Gun, we know that, Scaramanga had his like little, in his estate there, he had his like fun house. But with this, you guys decided to do the revolving mirrors, which, once again, I loved. So whose idea was that? Was that yours, Andrew, or?
I think that came from Matt.
Yeah, well, we were always going to have a fun house of some kind. We didn't know what it was going to be. There was a lot of different ideas in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because Andrew already had written out the whole ending. All the beats that you see happened with the mirrors spinning and it being mirrors. What did come from me? Actually seen this episode of Key and Peele. They do the spoofs of movies, but they have this amazing cinematography where their spoofs actually look like real movies. And there was a sequence where one of them was playing a detective and he was walking through a hall of mirrors, not too unlike what we did. I just thought, how freaky would it be if those just started turning around them and you didn't know where you were going or any of that. Ended up applying that idea here. And when it goes red, like it does over the Phantom Assassin in the beginning, that was a reference to the not Wizard of Oz, to Willy Wonka, to the Chocolate Factory. I just love that scene when they go down the tunnel.
Right.
It's red and where it really wanted to be. You would be as scared of this place as the girl was supposed to be.
Yeah. The idea with the fun, like I said, the revolving mirrors in there, and then sometimes you would you had at least two different characters come out of there. the one guy, and he reminded me that this is like, I guess, I don't know if this was intended, but this is like a Jurassic Park reference where he's like, like that. And I cracked up laughing every time I see that. It's so funny. And it was great. And he did a very good mechanical robot in there. That gentleman in there, and he was really good. The person, I don't know if it was the same person. He had like the mask on there, like kind of like I guess I would consider it like a Halloween mask in a way.
No, those were actually two different people.
Oh, were they? Okay.
Andrew, we got the guy in the armor suit.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I heard something different. That armor suit is actually a piece of stunt armor that's meant for like if you're doing some car hits or if you're gonna, slide off the hood of the car and hit the ground and tumble all over the ground. It's a big old armor suit.
Nice.
So we had put him up in that so that we could explode some dust balls on him, some practical effect dust balls, so that he'd be protected with that on. But, definitely it looks very machine-like.
Yeah.
And we added to it, we added the sunglasses. I actually have, this is how nerdy I am, I have the entire collection of Matrix sunglasses.
Really? Wow.
And took a picture and I showed Matt and I was like, what pair? I picked the twins one.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, brought it over and wore that.
Nice. Very nice. Andrew, let me ask you this about, the stunts, for lack of a better phrase, they're kick-ass, okay? Just seeing the axe fight, the making of that axe fight, I mean, did you get hit with that? It looked like you did in there. I don't know if you got hit in the stomach or you did. Okay.
I got hit right on the tip of my penis.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Hurt a lot.
Yeah, I bet it did. No, the fighting sequences between you, Jaws, and the other, I forget what her character's name was called, the sniper in there. I really like that. And luckily, she missed with the knife when she was aiming for something else too.
And then I got hit later.
Yeah, that's true. What I wanted to ask about is that, you guys obviously, you wanted to do just with this, you want to do kind of a, or at least the way I took it, that you want to do more practical effects.
More real live stunts.
Yes.
I mean,
I love that. Yes.
There's a whole going on now, you see in Hollywood, the stand up for stunts movement, the fact that we don't even get an Oscar category. I mean, like, what's up with that? That's kind of jacked up in my opinion.
Definitely.
Stunt people are the hardest working people on set. People that and sweat and tears. I mean, we get tore up, sometimes for the movie, and just like the fact that the Academy Awards and Oscars, they don't recognize us for that. Like that's kind of a jacked up thing. And live stunts always look better.
Oh, they do.
All this digital stuff, they look better. All this digital stuff is terrible. And, when you have a live stunt and knowing that the person really wows everybody, that's why these shows like Ninja Warrior and stuff like that are so popular. It's because people are really doing this stuff. And it wowed the audience. So we're like, hey, this is all going to be live stunts. We're not, nothing's digital. Everything is live stunts.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when it comes to James Bond movies, they try, at least, well, aside from one Die Another Day, they do try to stick back to practical effects. I mean, even going back to Casino Royale, that's because of that. That's when they got more into the practical effects. I mean, you have a guy running on top of a crane in Jamaica, and it's no, it wasn't. It was Madagascar. I'm sorry, Madagascar. Yeah. Anyway, though. Yeah. And even in Spectre, in the last James Bond movie, they hired the helicopter pilot from Red Bull in order to do those sequences in there with the helicopter doing all the twists and turns. And to me, that's why I go to the movies, and that's why I enjoyed your movie, just because I want to see the real stuff. I don't want to see CGI. If you're going to use CGI, do it just enough to, just to fill in, wherever. But I don't want to see just a full CGI fight. And even with the Batman Nolan films, that's why I like those, because, those are like real physical battles in there. That to me was Tom Hardy really going against Christian Bale in that. And yeah, so got to give you guys kudos on that. Definitely. So
yeah, thank you. We feel the exact same way about movies, and that's what we want to see, and that's why we had that approach.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, all the physical effects you see, all the dust balls, that's Andrew with the dust ball gun, and with all of his plans, mechanisms to make things burst and explode, and yeah, and Andrew can go into it more than I can, because I was just there witnessing it, going, "Wow, I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah,
that's amazing."
Yeah, I mean, everything, and part of it is like figuring some stuff out too, like the confetti can. We had to take some time and do a little bit of experimentation before shooting the movie to figure out how we wanted to achieve this look. And we filmed those rehearsals, and we filmed all of our tests, our camera tests and everything. And then when we do it for real, it's so much fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw the outtakes from the confetti stuff, and that was really funny. Especially, Matt, were you throwing the confetti at him when that happened in that scene?
I was, and I was late.
Oh, it still turned out
because we needed more. We just wanted so much more and more and more, and we were like, we already packed the cannon as much as it would fill, and we were like, more. So I just gave Matt a cup of glitter, and I was like, just even more.
I guess this is, probably a hard question, but in particular, what was probably, Andrew, what was your favorite part about the movie? Like, was it a scene or something in there, or, any Easter egg in there that you liked that,
I really enjoyed the Wall of Guns, obviously, because that was like, I wanted to do it. I just wanted to put together that Wall of Guns and see all the names by, they're all names either of the GoldenEye and 64 program. They're like the name of the weapon, but creatively put, like in GoldenEye, it's called like DD-44 Dostove or something like that. That's supposed to be the TT-33 Tokarev. Yeah. And I just wrote D Dostove. And then the same thing with like the MP5K. It's like E5K Deutsch. So I just wrote K Deutsch, and then, like then the Spectre M4 is called the Phantom in the game. So I just wrote like KD Phantom, which was Katie. So it was Katie Phantom. And the rest of them was like, Ken Lobb for the Klob. Ken Lobb was the programmer of the game. And the Klob is actually in the game named after him. So I was like, oh, well, perfect. Put up the Klob.
Yeah.
Put Ken Lobb's name by it.
Yeah. Nice. How about you, Matt? Anything in particular that you love? Was it one of the action sequences in there, or any of the Easter eggs, anything like that?
I really loved the opening scene. I think we worked so hard on that one, and getting, especially the spinning mirror effect, to work in the first place. Originally I wanted to use a lot more of that, but the physical act of getting that to work was so exhausting for the people spinning those mirrors that we could only shoot for a few minutes at a time. But just the fact that we were just able to pull that off, I was so happy about. That's my favorite scene.
Cool. Let me ask you guys this, I guess, while we're talking about films in general, especially when it comes to the James Bond movies. They're always going to be there. At least I think they're always going to be there. They're always going to be, there's always going to be another new Bond actor. There's always going to be a new take on it. We've seen, Sean Connery's take. Then we went to a lighter side with Roger Moore. We've seen darker takes and so forth. What do you guys think about, like, the directions of films? Like, the biggest thing right now, obviously, if it's not a remake, it's a reboot. And there's another one, kind of like how they did with, say, even going on Star Wars The Force Awakens, they kind of did just a little bit of a soft reboot in there too. What do you guys think about those kind of movies?
Well, it's interesting, that's for sure. I mean, I don't go see reboots in theaters so far. This is both a money thing, and I don't. If I'm not seeing a filmmaker coming out and say I've been wanting to make this for years, then I don't feel like that's enough for me to go see it, because that's what one of my favorite films is actually a remake, the 1978 Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Oh, okay.
And that's a San Francisco movie. That's directed by Philip Kaufman.
Mm-hmm.
That movie was so freaky and scary and strange, and that's a remake. But that happened because Philip Kaufman wanted to make that movie, and he came to the studio with that idea. And I think that's the difference between, and you can make a remake. I think Star Wars 7 was a soft reboot of some kind, but at least they did have ideas of their own they really brought into it. And you knew that from previous interviews with J.J. Abrams that he had been wanting to be in this universe. So that, to me, I think is the difference. Remakes is one thing. That's okay if you have to do it, but movies are really just judged by the merit of the heart that's put in. So,
right. I guess, like, when it comes to, like, a project such as yourself, I mean, sure, The Man with the Golden Gun was done before, but, I mean, it's been quite a while. So that, I guess, is that what inspired you to do this, in a way? Just to have that new take on it, maybe,
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, Andrew, you can tell, like, you always wanted to make a James Bond film. You could talk about that, for sure.
Yeah, we always wanted to do a James Bond short. I mean, I love Man with the Golden Gun. But there is a certain part of it that is lacking, and it is the stunts. I mean, it's 70s, and for its time, it was all right. But the way that stunts are now, it's like it's outdated, and it looks kind of fake. The way Roger Moore throws his punches, and the way the guys shoot the gun, they're like, and they're like, soup oils and stuff, and the other thing was like the golden bullet. How we had in our movie, how the golden bullet uses the golden bullet at the end. Like, I wanted to come back to it because they don't really come back to it in the original movie. He gets it sent to him, and then it turns out, it was the girl that sent it to him because she wanted him to kill James Bond. They never really come back to it, and I was like, we should have him use this at the end. It got sent to him, and then he uses it. I mean, I liked the posed statue that he shoots all the fingers off, but I mean, by today's standard, it's just kind of like it's almost a little bit cheap,
Yeah. With the
Not
man with
cheap, but like it's easy.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for today, definitely. But watching it though, that's a scene that we did want to recapture in a new kind of way because I definitely was blown away when they set that up so well, and then he's in it, and you don't realize that he got in it, or he got in that suit of the statue and has the gun. Luckily, the gun happens to be loaded.
That was cool.
That worked out well.
Yeah. Great payoff for today. I don't know how it would play, but I guess it played well enough for us, and that movie is 40, 50 years old, but definitely when watching it for the first time, I did think in the back of my head, how would we do this today? Would this play today? It was a wonderful coincidence that Andrew thought it up and he came up with the whole, I guess if you haven't seen it, he came up with the way we get out of the villain's lair at the end of the movie. Yes.
Go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. Definitely it's on YouTube, right? Yep. So definitely.
Yep. It's on YouTube. Just Google YouTube 007. I only need one. Yep. And it'll be there. We also have a Facebook, facebook.com/I only need one.
Yep.
But yeah, he came up with that.
A lot of people don't know that ending. That is actually something that you can do. It's very dangerous. I wouldn't recommend anybody does it. But some people come like, no, actually, you can actually make a bullet go off that way.
No kidding. Wow.
Wouldn't recommend anybody that ever does that because that's incredibly stupid and dangerous.
Yeah.
That actually is possible. It's not fake.
Here's what I like.
That's people hurt themselves.
Yeah. What I like though is when I read the script and I asked you about, like, can that really happen? And you with a straight face just said, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. And then after we finished making the movie, you said, oh no, you might actually kill yourself. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm glad you didn't tell me that before we did the movie because I might have tried something different. You omitted that information.
Yeah.
So you have to be very, very careful with live ammunition.
Definitely. Definitely. So I won't hold you guys up too much longer, but I'll throw the spoiler alert out here anyway for anyone who hasn't seen the film. You pulled at the very end of the credits the classic James Bond will return in Never Let Them See You Bleed. I'm familiar with that quote from a certain movie called The World's Not Enough. And, you have my attention right now, and I'm very anxious, and I'm chomping at the bit about this, okay, if you can't tell right now. So, how do I say this? When will production begin on this?
Soon as humanly possible.
Okay.
Yeah. I came up with the premise sort of as we were finishing up the movie, and just going to keep it under the lid for right now, but I think it's going to be very exciting.
Okay, so it is going to happen.
Movie. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We don't have an exact, delivery date on that, but we're working on it.
Okay, all right, that's good. That's good. I was going to say, and if you need an extra in there, then I can find a way to California, somehow. You need like some kind of 006 kind of Hispanic kind of suave kind of looking guy. I have the tux. I have a suit and I have a fake Walther too, so I can always do that too. So I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
That would be awesome.
I'm just kidding. Anyway,
we have a soundtrack out too. Oh, Matt.
Oh yes.
Oh, he's a composer.
Yeah. Before we're done. If you want to hear about this.
Yes, I do. I meant to ask you about the score. That was one of the questions, because you actually had a James Bond score in there. And, I love James Bond scores. So actually confession of a nerd. I was running earlier and I'm listening to the James Bond scores. I'm listening to some John Barry out there and listening to some David Arnold and, I think some Michael Kamen on there too, who did the, License to Kill soundtrack. But yes, tell me about this score for, the movie.
Well, I don't know how Andrew got this guy. Golden Zen is the composer, and he's worked on James Bond video games such as GoldenEye Source and among other things. He does a lot of events, and he's from Switzerland, Sweden. Andrew, he's from that's the one he's from. But he's amazing. He's really couldn't believe he was very excited about the project, and he just committed to really giving. I never thought we would get. He just knew right off the bat what each scene needed to be, and I had some adjustments for him here and there, but he really came at it with the personality of knowing the Bond sound, what Bond's sound should sound like. And the movie, I did attempt when you end the movie, you don't have a score. Scores from other movies. I actually put John Barry's score from Man with the Golden Gun underneath the funhouse scenes so that I could capture that sort of pacing and that feeling. And man, did Golden Zen knock it out of the park with that. Who needs the temp music when you hear his music? Yeah, so very grateful for Andrew finding this guy.
Definitely. And he even had, when Andrew was fighting, or James Bond was fighting, Jaws in there, you even heard the guitar in there, and I'm just, like I said, I'm geeking out on there. It's like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, yes. I was like, yes, he did it. All right. Cause, that had to be hard to do, like, one, to have the James Bond, or just, I don't know how licensing works or anything like that, to be able to, include the 007 in there and stuff like that, or just, use a character named James Bond, but to even have the score incorporated in there, I was, like I said, I was amazed by that.
Yeah. Thank you. And mostly thanks to Yannick, that guy, he should be making the actual James Bond movie scores. That's how I feel. But I definitely love David Arnold's work and everyone who's been making it. His James Bond music is just so specific. You have to get it right, or it's not. It's not really James Bond.
Yeah, I would say, going back to GoldenEye, I think that would be the only thing that it did lack was a good score. I like the score. I like certain parts of the score in there, aside from the end credits song by Eric Sierra. But there was, when they did, I forget who it was, the tank scene. It wasn't scored by him. It was scored by off the top of my head, John Ottoman, I think it was, or John Debney. It's one of the two Johns anyway. And, they were brought on to make that classical sound in there. And, like you said, you gotta have the Bond theme in there. It's very iconic, obviously. And just something about a James Bond score. Sure, you can, a composer does create his own sound around it, and especially, this is something else I forgot. You guys had a Bond song at the very beginning in the credits, and at the opening credits and at the end credits, and I believe it's entitled I Only Need One, and that still gave me the whole, this feels like a Bond movie, So yeah, definitely.
Well, that's again, that's Yannick Goldensen. My mistake for not, or maybe just time in the movie not having room to put that credit in there. But Yannick, that's his voice. He came up with that song all on his own. Mm-hmm. It was just an embarrassment of riches in this movie. Like, the cinematography, I think, is what makes the look so great. And that's just a cookout. And just having that off the bat, the movie's going to look good. And then Andrew, who's done commercials and been on MasterChef and Urban Tarzan, all these things, you wouldn't believe it because you don't see his face. But when those things are going to look good, all you need really is from my point of view, to get the right cast to do it. Mm-hmm. And Andrew, he's producing it. He's cast himself, so that's done. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
He loves the character. He knows how it's got to be. But then I just have to get the rest of the cast. And then when that music comes on, it's just all of a sudden everything sings together. Mm-hmm. It was just embarrassment of riches. It was awesome.
Definitely. All right, guys, I won't hold you up any longer. The film is entitled 007, You Only Need One. You can find it on YouTube now. Guys, where can people find you?
You can find us, the movie or...
both. Definitely plug the movie as much as you want.
Yeah, well, the movie, if you're looking for the movie, you want to find it on YouTube, just Google 007, I Only Need One. You'll see it's 16 minutes long. It says James Bond fan film next to it. Mm-hmm. We also have a Facebook.com/I Only Need One, and Instagram. Just search for 007, I Only Need One, and you can see a lot of behind-the-scenes photos, things we've been working on. Andrew's put out some behind-the-scenes video if you're curious about some of the things that happened in the movie. Mm-hmm. And we're working on the DVD right now, so we'll have that out hopefully in the next few months.
Okay, great. Guys, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I hope to talk to you guys soon. Best of luck. I hope this movie deserves a lot of awards, and I think you have some more coming. So thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having us. You have a great show, and the fact that you enjoy saying all these kind things, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. I hope to talk to you guys soon, okay?
All right. Okay. Best to you, man.
Best to you. All right, take care. All right, and once again, big thanks, big shout out to Matt and Andrew from 007, I Only Need One. Let me just say, it was a pleasure having these guys on the show, and I can't say enough good things about the movie. So if you are a James Bond fan, or if you're just a practical effects kind of movie person, you love action, go check out this short film and you will definitely enjoy it. So, all right. I know I'm short on time tonight, as always, as I always am. And besides, it's, the coffee in my system is dying out quickly as we speak. So let me get to a few quick topics that I wanted to touch on tonight. So this past weekend, I had the chance to meet two lovely ladies. And, they are still classified as Bond girls. Now, I will be doing a show eventually. It's going to be a big, or at least a 2-part episode, because there's so many to cover. But I will be doing an episode eventually. I like teasing you guys, of Bond girls. And for those of you, for the Batman fans that don't know what a Bond girl is, let me tell you something. Bond girls are by far some of the most lovely ladies on film, in movie history, okay? So I'll be using the phrase Bond girl a lot, but I did get a chance to meet two of them, and it was Miss Luciana Paluzzi and Miss Britt Ekland. And I met them at the Mid-Atlantic Nostalgia Convention. Say that 5 times fast. Yeah, so, I think I talked about it just briefly, last week, but, I found out kind of last minute about it, and it turns out, to make a long story short, they were 15 minutes at a convention from my house. I leave work right away on Friday. Make sure I got out of there just, when it's time to punch out. I rushed over there, and, who was there but these two actresses. And for those of you that don't know who these two actresses are, Luciana Paluzzi portrayed Fiona Volpe in Thunderball, one of my favorite Sean Connery James Bond movies. I think it's tied for it's at least tied for second place, I think. Anyway, probably one of the, and as I told her, I think not only is she my favorite villainess, but she might be one of my favorite villains ever. And memory serves me correctly, and fact checkers double check me on this, but she portrayed one of the first villainesses in a James Bond movie ever. She was, just her character, give it a little bit of background about her, is, she is a stunning, gorgeous Italian redhead female, and I think she was a great challenge for 007. It's like 007 might have met his match when it came to Largo number 2 in Thunderball, but when it came to when he met Fiona Volpe, I was like, oh wow, this lady can pull. This lady doesn't hold. She is mean. She had that bike. If you remember, she had that super bike in there. And 007, he's getting ready to be one of the Spectre guys is coming from the clinic, and he's chasing him in the Aston Martin DB5. And what does Sean Connery do? But he gets his defense mechanisms ready to go and so forth. But all of a sudden, you hear this motorbike coming, and all of a sudden, what happens is the motorbike shoots some like missiles or guns, and then it kills the other Spectre bad guy. And then when we find out who it is, we see, oh, this is a lovely lady, and she gives a new definition to the meaning bad girl. And I didn't have a chance too much to talk to Miss Paluzzi, but she was a very, very sweet lady, and as was Miss Britt Ekland. Miss Britt Ekland played Mary Goodnight in The Man with the Golden Gun. And I actually, it was so funny because this past week I tagged her as my WCW, and for those of you that don't know what that is, it's Woman Crush Wednesday. Yes, I maybe that's the millennial coming out in me or so forth. I have no idea, but I tagged her on there, and go figure, within the next day she ended up liking my picture, and I'm like, no way. And I'm geeking out. I'm typical fanboy. So what do? I show her this. I'm like, hi, I just want to say it's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for liking my picture. And I show her my phone, and she's like, that was you? I was like, yes, ma'am, that was me. She's like, oh, that was so sweet of you. Thank you. And, we talked a little bit. Like I said, we didn't have too much time to talk because it was near the end of the convention, and just meeting these, I don't know if you can tell sometimes by my voice, but sometimes I've been known to be a little shy. So meeting these two ladies who I've watched these movies over and over again, but it was just that, I guess the nostalgia just kicked in, and I was just like, oh my God, I'm meeting two Bond girls. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And it just, I wish, and now thinking back, I wish I would have asked them so many questions, like, what was it like to work with Roger Moore? What was it like to work with Sean Connery? What was it like to work with, to be, to do all these kind of things. And you know what? There's always another time, and if they ever do come back in the area, or if I ever see them at a convention near the area, I will definitely go, and I will definitely make sure that I ask them the proper questions and so forth. But I did want to throw that out there. So be sure to check out my Instagram at Batman vs. Bond. I have 2 pictures with me and these 2 lovely ladies, and like I said, they were a pleasure to meet. Anyway, all right, so once again, time is short, so a couple quick topics I wanted to cover here. Over the weekend, obviously, it was Batman Day, Saturday, all-day Batman thing, all kinds of different posts going out there about the Bat, and, we also were treated to not 1, not 2, but 3 different pictures concerning the Justice League, all of them from Zack Snyder. The first one is probably one of the biggest ones here. It is actually Ben Affleck in his new Justice League Batman suit. And, all right, let me just get this off my chest first. This Batman suit is, it's more of the armored one that we were teased when we saw pictures. I believe it was during Comic-Con They had the whole Justice League there, and there's been some minor tweaks. There's some more armor padding. It's a little slightly darker. I'd say like a slate gray. Same bat, or the bat symbol was still on his chest and so forth. So I guess he learned after his fight with Batman, with Superman, and he needs to be able to move around a little bit more because he might have to get a little bit more physical in this fight. I don't know how much more physical he could be after a fight with Superman, but who knows? But the interesting part about this picture was that he had goggles when he was actually wearing goggles over top his eyes in the cowl. And when you see this picture, it does resemble a certain other DC Comics character by the name of Night Owl. And Night Owl, for those of you that don't know, is from the comic book Watchmen, or from the graphic novel Watchmen, whichever way you want to call it. Nerds, you can send your hate mail at Batman versus Bond. Anyway, where I'm going with this. I love the suit. I really love the picture. It's Batfleck looking like Batfleck. I guess I'm still getting used to the goggles or the glasses, whatever you want to call them. And, like I said, when it comes to comic books, sometimes, some of the things I'm not familiar with. So when I see a picture like this, I'm like, what is he doing? It looks like he's wearing shades. It looks like he's getting ready to, go to the beach. It's like it's like summer's over, Batman. Are you getting ready to go on vacation or what? But no, honestly, all jokes aside, I like the look of it. I really do. It's just that it's taking me some getting used to. Now, I remember going back and I remember seeing, even Val Kilmer's interpretation. He had, in his cowl and his new mechanical suit at the end of Batman Forever, his eyes had that those glasses that came down on the inside of it. And he used it when he threw the Batarang to take out the Riddler's lair and so forth. Even rewatching The Dark Knight over the weekend, you saw the sonar part that the Dark Knight that Batman had in his suit that Lucius Fox had created, and he was able to see all kinds of things. So maybe this is the type of interpretation that they're going to be doing with it. They're going to put their own spin. Maybe it's some kind of night vision. I have no idea. I'm not going to make assumptions. I just want to say that the picture's out there. It looks really badass. Like I said, if the goggles, I'm still getting used to. If somebody can explain to me why he might be wearing those goggles, please share with me, and I'd be very interested in that. All right. So moving on here, another picture we did get a chance to see was the new bat signal, the new and improved bat signal. But there's more. There was also another character next to this bat signal that lit it up, and it was none other than Commissioner Gordon, portrayed by J.K. Simmons. Now, this is a black and white picture. It's him above, I guess I would imagine it's above the Gotham Police Headquarters, and this picture is amazing. I think I like this picture more, as a matter of fact, than the Batsuit. I know I said it, but it's nice to see Commissioner Gordon back in the picture, because in my mind, when you have the Batman character, I mean, the key elements of Batman are obviously, the cowl, the costume, and so forth, the Batmobile, Alfred, Wayne Manor, and specifically the Bat Signal, which we did get in Batman v Superman. But it's nice to know that Commissioner Gordon is back. I know he's probably going to have a brief cameo. I know there's leaks online about his interaction that he does have with the Justice League. I didn't want to share that on here because not only did I want to be spoiled, but I don't want to spoil you guys too. So I just want to share that out there. That is at Batman vs. Bond. Be sure to check it out there. Because we're short on time, I'm going to have to move on here. There's a couple other things, but they're going to have to wait till next week. All right, let's move on to birthdays here. Celebrating a birthday on September 15th, Tom Hardy, you know him as Bane from The Dark Knight Rises.
It doesn't matter who we are. The fire rises. You think darkness is your ally. When Gotham is ashes, then you have my permission to die.
That's the best impression you're going to get. I'm here all night. Try the veal. Anyway, moving on. Celebrating a birthday also on September 15th, Katarina Marino, who played Solange in Casino Royale. Oh, when we talk about Bond girls, I can't wait to talk about her. Very lovely, lovely, gorgeous lady. Unfortunately, she didn't have such a big part in Casino Royale, but I mean, sometimes that's the price of being the second Bond girl. But, everything she did in there is very memorable. One more reason to check out Casino Royale. All right, the next birthday here is director Guy Hamilton, who celebrated a birthday on September 16th. Best known for directing Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, Live and Let Die, and The Man with the Golden Gun. Guys, when we talk about directors here, I can't think of not one of those movies directed by Guy Hamilton that, doesn't end up being a favorite for a lot of Bond fans or a lot of film fans in general. Obviously, Goldfinger has its reputation for being one of the most iconic James Bonds. Live and Let Die, I know, is a favorite among a lot of people. And The Man with the Golden Gun and Diamonds Are Forever, maybe not everybody's favorite. We were just talking about The Man with the Golden Gun. I still love a lot of things about it, despite some of its faults. Diamonds Are Forever, I can enjoy that for what it is. Maybe not my favorite Bond, but still, happy birthday, sir. And our final birthday this week is celebrated by Miss Christina Wayborn, who celebrates a birthday on September 24th. She played Magda in Octopussy. And once again, another classic, lovely Bond girl beauty. If you haven't had a chance to check out Octopussy, definitely check it out. She actually plays a substantial role in the movie. I don't want to give anything away, but she did, just go, go watch the movie. You'll enjoy it, believe me. Anyway, all right, let's finish it up tonight with Versus. So this is the final part of the show where we compare movies of the Batman or James Bond universes versus other franchises in the same wheelhouse. I left you on a cliffhanger last week, mainly because I was in a rush because I went way over. I probably did that again tonight, but I'm going to do this again. So last week's Versus was Batman 1989 versus The Dark Knight. Because I didn't have a chance to post it out there, I'm going to make sure that I post it again. So we're just going to make this week's Versus. I can't say enough good things about both these movies, and it's so hard for me as a fan because I love these movies so much. I can't choose one. By next week's show, I will have picked out one, and the one that I pick out might surprise you. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this, but yeah. So that about wraps it up for this episode of the Batman vs. James Bond show. Please subscribe on iTunes, rate it 5 stars, and leave a nice little review for me on there. And please share the show with your friends, guys. I'd very much appreciate it. Follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Batman vs. Bond. I'm always posting all the time. I love interaction with you guys, so definitely keep it up. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you can now find the show on the BS Podcast Network, and be sure to check out all their other great programming on there. And once again, a big thank you to Andrew and Matt for coming on the show from 007 I Only Need One. Go check it out on YouTube. It is a great, excellent movie. I think you guys will enjoy it. Like James Bond, I will return. Until next time, I'm Brian Thomas. Thanks for listening, guys, and have a great week. Peace out.